My husband and I finally made the difficult decision to leave the United States.
This economy is so bad. $33 for toilet paper? We can't even afford to shit.
America has become completely unaffordable, and I don't know why more people are not talking about this.
I just got laid off from my job after 12 years. The way that the world is right now, how do you lay someone off?
The gas was $2.89. Last time I got gas, after he filled it up, I said, "Ooh, gas must have went up." It was $3.15. It's $3.50.
92,000 jobs disappeared last month. The same month, the US government started spending $891 million per day of taxpayer money to fund their conflict in Iran. You know the economy is already bad when the CEO of McDonald's is taking the world's smallest bite of a burger he's trying to promote on social media. Then the Wendy's president joined in, followed by the Burger King CEO. These are the highest paid people at these companies. I mean, 5 years ago, the social media specialists couldn't even get a glimpse of the CEO in a hallway, and now they've got them doing cameos every week. But there's a reason why. McDonald's CEO has been warning shareholders that traffic from low-income customers had fallen nearly double digits across the entire industry. I wonder why.
I got a 20-piece chicken McNugget, just McNugget, and 1 plain hamburger and 4 large fries and 2 McFlurries. $50 at McDonald's.
Sausage McMuffin, and look at how thin the sausage is from McDonald's. I mean, and it's all dried.
McDonald's, just like every other company, has increased their prices by 40% since 2019. Sure, they can increase their prices, but our salaries haven't gone up 40%. And then there's groceries, up 34% since 2019.
Here's what I bought. Shampoo, conditioner, a 6-pack of toilet paper, and a birthday card for my niece. 4 things. $72.
This is why I can't shop at Publix anymore. 2 for $11 for shredded cheese? Are you kidding me?
Do you think that $30 for this pack of hamburger meat is absolutely ridiculous? When did hamburger get so expensive? That's almost $7 a pound here at Walmart.
People are struggling to afford basic necessities, and at the same time we see these astronomical prices, the jobs are disappearing. For all of 2025, the US gained only 181,000 jobs total. That's just 15,000 new jobs per month for the entire country. In February, the same month the US and Israel struck Iran, the US reported 92,000 fewer jobs than expected. The last time the labor market saw losses like this was in 2010, when the economy was still recovering from the global financial crisis. And the layoffs keep coming. Volkswagen announced 50,000 layoffs across their German factories. Atlassian cut 1,600 workers. Pinterest laid off 15% of their entire workforce.
I just got laid off from Google today.
Like, my entire team basically has been eliminated.
Get ready with me to get laid off. Oh wait, I am already laid off because they sent me an email at 4:49 a.m.
Companies continue to lay off workers, with many claiming AI. Whether that's true or not, no new jobs are being created, and as a result, many people have been unemployed for months. So it's no surprise that we're now seeing a record number of Americans pulling from their retirement funds. And every 3 months, the US household debt hits a new record. It now stands at $18.8 trillion between the car payments, the mortgage, the student loans, and the credit card debt. And keep in mind, that's just household debt. The US government also hit a new record, $39 trillion due to the conflict in Iran. The entire country is ran by debt. And if all of that wasn't enough to show just how bad 2025 was, then we also have the reports released in February. On February 20th, the Bureau of Economic Analysis released a report showing economic growth had drastically dropped, hitting the lowest levels since the pandemic. And on that very same day, they released another report showing prices had risen 3% in December alone. Wages were already stagnant, taxes already increasing with AI infiltrating everything, and now they've started a new war on top of it all.
2 weeks ago, gas was $2, and today gas is $4. Did gasoline go to college and come back with a master's degree in pricing? Oh my God!
Why did I just spend $73.62 on gas? I always pay like $50. I'm tired of this. I'm tired. I just got back into trucking and y'all done raised the fuel prices so high. Are y'all crazy?
$110. That's one way to get screwed while your man's away.
We live in a global economy, so when one country struggles, all the countries it trades with also feels it. Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz, placing naval mines to block imports and exports, and as a result, crude oil prices are skyrocketing. Every country, big or small, is feeling the impact. Now, most people associate crude oil with gasoline or petrol. And while refining crude oil does give us various fuels, what no one is talking about is the petrochemicals. Petrochemicals are the building blocks of plastics, and because corporations have used plastic as a cheap way to pad their profit margins, plastic is now in virtually everything. Clothing, furniture, food packaging, medical supplies, cosmetics, electronics. The largest port and trading hub in the Middle East is being disrupted by the ongoing conflict and the closure of the Strait, meaning plastic among countless other materials is now affected. But it's not just plastic. There's also the liquefied natural gas. Qatar is the world's third largest natural gas exporter, a small country, but they produce 20% of the world's liquefied natural gas. They halted production shortly after this conflict started, but now their gas facilities have been damaged due to the conflict escalating. That liquefied natural gas is used to make nitrogen fertilizer, and 33% of the world's nitrogen fertilizer is also traded through the Strait. Farmers depend on that fertilizer to grow food, so when that gets blocked, farmers now have to pay more to grow the same crops. The grocery stores pay more to stock shelves, and we ultimately pay more at checkout. A perfect example of this is Australian beef.
Australia's food system, Australia's food supply chain, relies completely on chemical inputs. Things like oil and urea, which mostly come from overseas, is in peril right now because of the situation with the Middle East and what's happening with the war.
Australia is the world's second largest beef exporter behind Brazil, with its biggest markets being US, Japan, China, and South Korea. When farmers have to pay more to feed their cattle, the price of beef goes up. And something else people never think about: aluminum. GCC countries account for roughly 9% of global aluminum production. Their ports trade millions of tons of primary aluminum every year. With the Strait closed, we're seeing aluminum prices skyrocket. There are more than 3,700 cargo flights every single day carrying electronics, pharmaceuticals, and fresh produce. That's all now more expensive to operate.
Drivers, this is why it's very important to have a fuel discount card. Look at how much it costs the company to fill up 210 gallons in Breezewood, Pennsylvania.
You may not be able to feel it right now, but just know that very soon you will start to see the impact of these prices.
We're up to $4.99 a gallon here in Washington at the cheap station. See? There you go.
Diesel powers trucks, trains, and farming equipment. The same trucks and trains hauling everything from building materials to food to car parts and coal. So yes, crude oil affects fuel prices. But there's a cascade effect. It affects almost every physical product in existence and the entire global food supply along with it. And we already know what happens when global supply gets disrupted. Companies use it as an opportunity to increase their prices. That's exactly why everything has been so expensive since the pandemic. Companies increased their prices and they never brought them back down. As a result of this new crisis, shipping companies are already facing higher costs. They're going to pass those costs down to us. We've already been warned. Maersk, the world's second largest shipping company, told the BBC, "We have traditional contracting mechanisms that pass on this fuel fluctuation. Ultimately, in this case, these increases will pass to our customers and will pass on to the consumers." And there's no doubt they will. Companies are locking their prices inside an app because it allows them to do dynamic pricing, effectively hiding the tariff price increases. And now they can hide these new price increases too. To combat the rising costs of oil, the International Energy Agency released 400 million barrels of emergency oil. This is only the 5th time this has happened since the agency was founded in the 1970s, and this is by far their largest release in history. Now, 400 million barrels of oil sounds like a lot, until you realize that the world consumes 105 million barrels of oil per day. 105 million barrels of oil per day. That's how dependent we are on oil. The longer the Strait stays closed, the more expensive everything becomes, and the closer we get to yet another recession. And while all of this is unfolding, the US government is still in a partial shutdown. Airports are overcrowded due to staff shortages, with some already warning they may have to close entirely. TSA employees are expected to keep showing up to work without getting paid. According to Axios, at least 20 countries are now involved in this conflict, either actively fighting or quietly supplying. And the US is attempting to pull more countries into the conflict. Countries, mind you, that have their own cost of living crisis.
This is another reason we're leaving this country. We want some lamb mince to make a kebab and it's £7.50. Look at the pack, the size of my hand.
So we're on the brink of a fuel crisis here in New Zealand, on top of a cost of living crisis. Things are looking pretty bleak.
I get a box of Cocoa Pops, 12 eggs, a bottle of water, 15 fucking quid.
I live in Manitoba, Canada. As a Canadian, it is getting so ridiculously expensive to live out here. I'm not somewhere that's incredibly busy. I'm not somewhere that's full of people. Like, the population where I live is 10,000. Like, we are struggling.
$23 for shit-ass coffee. $36 for some shit-ass chocolate. I'm not even taking the piss. $37 for a bat. 2 for 20. Are they taking the fucking piss?
The US defense budget for 2026 was already $901 billion. The Pentagon just requested another $200 billion to further fund the conflict, a clear sign this won't be over soon. EU member states approved a combined €343 billion defense budget in 2024, a 19% rise from the year before. You know who pays for it all? Not the billionaires sitting on boards of defense companies collecting billions in government contracts. Not the insiders who placed bets predicting the US would strike Iran hours before it happened. We do. The people who wake up every day, go to work, pay our bills, pay our taxes, funding a conflict we had absolutely no say in, just trying to survive yet another global crisis.
I think the biggest disconnect between my generation and my parents' generation is the fact that we are just not buying it anymore. We're not buying into the war on drugs. We're not buying into the weapons of mass destruction. We're not buying into our greatest ally. We're not buying into trickle-down economics. The 3 richest people in America now own more wealth than the bottom 50%. We are not buying into just work harder, and we are not buying into unskilled labor. We are no longer buying into democracy after seeing that our politicians just vote how they're paid to.